Well, good damn afternoon, Americans. Jericho Green here with you once again. He is back. What was that, Mark Morrison? Return of the Magnetic. Sloppy Joe is on the go. Somebody found the Necronomicon. They read the incantation and breathed life back into the corpse of Sloppy Joe Biden. Some ancient mystical woman has been awoken from her slumber and breathed some kind of magical air into his mouth and revived that mummy-like frame. Sloppy Joe is back. Now, the first media appearance or interview that he sat down for was with the BBC, which is weird because the first B in BBC stands for British, as in Great Britain, long live the king. And we don't live in Great Britain or any other kind of Britain. It was formerly Britain, and then we beat their ass, and now it's America. What I mean is, he is not wasn't the president of Great Britain. So why would you do your first interview with that country? Well, I think it's because his handlers, his team, the orderlies dressed in all white that follow him around to stop him from having another spill, I think they got together and decided that it would be better if Sloppy Joe goes to the BBC, because here in America, in the USA, even our broken, corrupt lapdogs of the elite, mainstream, mediocre media, they would be forced to ask some hard questions like, was your head really filled with Quaker oatmeal instead of a brain while you were president? Because there's a buzz now. People are writing books. People are starting to talk. And they're saying that he was pretty much a zombie in a suit. Like we knew. We already knew that. Yes, it's good to hear them finally admit guilt, but we knew this shit for a long time. You know how we knew? We watched him talk for 30 seconds or more, and you're like, oh, something's wrong with that stuff inside of his skull, right? Obviously. Because look at the way he talks and the way he moves. So they decided, nah, we better take him over to the BBC, because they're not really going to ask those questions because he wasn't the president of their country, so they don't really have to. You don't have to, we don't have to hold their British feet to the fire. But in America, they would. So where is the first place that he went in America? Well, of course, a safe space. A leathery prune-like bosom known as The View. And with Sloppy Joe on set, it's a combined age of 1,200. So Sloppy Joe went on The View with those barren powdered egg harpies. And of course, no hard-hitting questions. They took it easy on him. Joe, you're so awesome. Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar may or may not have had their hand under the table pleasuring his wrinkled penis. But it was a warm welcome. So they asked him, do you think, after having Trump in office for 100 days, do you think you still could have beaten Trump? This isn't the Maury. So he basically goes on to say that, yeah, I could have beat him because I still would have gotten 7 million more of the popular vote than him, and people weren't coming out. And he's had the worst 100 days of any president. Now, of course, I'm saying it far, far more coherently. He was trailing off his words, slurring his words, classic Sloppy Joe. And for him to sit there and say, for them to even ask that question, and of course, while he's answering the question, they're sitting on their perch, shitting on the floor. Caw! Caw! They're all flapping their mite-ridden wings. Caw! And he's up there espousing a bunch of bullshit. There's no way in the world you would have beat Donald J. Trump. Do you not remember the debate you had? And the answer is yes. Of course he doesn't remember that debate. But to even ask him that is an insult to the American citizen. For him to give that answer is an insult, because basically what they're saying is, Sloppy Joe, do you think the American people are stupid and would believe that you would have won the fucking election? That's what they're saying. And of course, all the clapping seals that they toss a sardine into the mouth of, these, Midwest stay-at-home wives. I don't know who is keeping that show on the air. But of course, those idiots will believe, oh yeah, Sloppy Joe. Yeah. Of course he would have won. Donald Trump, he's so mean and he doesn't want to do this, and he's shutting down the Department of Education, which is absolutely worthless, but we still want it because of the kids and the feelings, and what about them? Donald Trump is so brash, he's not nice. Tough shit. You want nice? Go find your friends or something. Don't girls always tell each other how beautiful they are? And you guys are always doing each other's hair and shit? Go find your friends. They'll tell you you're awesome. They'll be nice to you. That's not what the presidency is for. And then the more you hear Sloppy Joe talk, the more you see him do these appearances, you almost miss him a little bit. You almost miss him a little bit because nobody else is out here saying this kind of delusional, crazy shit. Now, as I say that, there's probably some leftist commie pinko politician who just blew what he said out of the water. But if we could just have Sloppy Joe talk and never get near Washington, D.C. again, that would be awesome. But Sloppy Joe is back, and he believes with whatever is inside of his skull. And Sloppy Joe's probably not even run off of like brains and organs. There's probably some kind of motherboard inside of him. He's like if you look on the back of his neck, it probably says Cyberdyne Systems or some shit like that. He's probably not even human. They probably invented some very realistic looking fake skin, and he's a Terminator under there. Because there's no way in the world that there's a human being like Sloppy Joe. What do you think? Are you glad to see Sloppy Joe out there trying to string sentences together? Or do you want him to be tucked away, never to be heard from again? Talk to me, Goose. Meet me in the comments. But you know how it goes. I try to be done with the left, but they just won't let me. I'm out.